Hello everyone. How are you all?
I'm good, sir. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good too. Thanks for asking. Has everyone arrived? Is this week you will be having the retest, right? Whoever haven't attempted. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Who didn't attempt? Okay, who are having the retest? Please give it well. Today is the last class of our course. From tomorrow, the project will be beginning.
सर प्रोजेक्ट इंडिविजुअल होगा या ग्रुप में होगा?
वो मैं पूछ लूंगा, ठीक है? फिर बता देंगे, ठीक है? Project you will be taking the projects on the next Monday or this Friday possibly. Then you will begin. Fine.
Okay, sir.
So congrats to everyone for making it here till the last class today. It's about 4 months, right? That we are together. Fine, yeah. So let's begin. Everyone can see my screen. Still 15 people only, man. How can we go ahead? That's the problem. So what we have discussed previous class, what we have discussed, whatever data in your router is received from the internet the router identifies which device has made the request, using what? The router utilizes what to determine which device, MAC address or something else. Router allots what? Private IP address, right? Is it private IP address? Now, based upon the private IP address, okay, we have associated MAC address. Okay, private IP address is associated with the MAC address. We have some protocol. What protocol is used to translate IP address to MAC address? What protocol is used? What protocol is used? Address resolution protocol, or ARP. Fine. Now suppose this device is sending a request. This is about receiving the data from the internet. If it is sending the data via the router, what should happen as per you? What do you think? From a particular MAC address, a request of data, that okay, a request is being sent that I require data D from the internet. Now what will happen? Any idea? MAC address will be converted to private IP address, right? MAC address will be translated to the private IP address. That okay, this IP address that has been allotted by the router R has requested for data D from the internet. Please grab it from the internet, right? Please grab the data from the internet and fetch it back. So translation of the MAC address to the IP address is called is handled by another protocol called the reverse address resolution protocol, RARP. Fine. Are these points clear to all of you, whatever we have discussed previously?
Yes, sir.
All of you? Yeah, today is the last class. Don't stay silent.
Please explain this again.
Which one?
So this RARP.
RARP is when you are making the request. Device is making a request that, okay, I require data D from the internet. So what will happen? MAC address, using the MAC address, request will be sent. Fine. then that MAC address will be translated to private IP address. This MAC address is associated with what IP address? With what private IP address allotted by the router, right? Router identifies a MAC address using the private IP address. So using this private IP address it goes to the router. It goes to the router that, okay, this device has requested for data D. Please grab it from the internet and fetch the data. Fine. So in this process, the MAC address of the device is getting translated to private IP address, right? This conversion is called reverse address resolution protocol, RARP. So what is the difference you have got from here? What between ARP and RARP? Any difference you can see? Anyone can try to say what is the difference?
So explain ARP again, please.
ARP is what? When from the internet data comes, it reaches the router. Is it? From the router knows that this data belongs to IP, private IP I, let's say. Now this IP belongs to which device? Which device? Okay. So device is known by MAC address. So this IP address I should be translated to the respective MAC address of the device. Then only the data can reach the device. So conversion of IP address to MAC address, translation of IP address to MAC address is handled by some set of rules or protocol called ARP, address resolution protocol. Fine. Similarly, when a device wants to send a request to the internet that I require data D, there what happens, MAC address is translated to private IP. MAC address is translated to IP address. Fine. So translation of MAC address to the respective IP address is handled by another protocol called RARP, reverse address resolution protocol. Now tell me, what is the difference that you can see between them?
So it is a reverse process.
How many of you agree with Shazia that
It's a
RARP is just the reverse of ARP? RARP is just the reverse of ARP. How many of you agree with Shazia? Only 1%. That means I am telling something incorrect, is it? Okay, 3 persons, 4. So we 6 are saying that, okay, this RARP is a protocol that converts MAC address to IP address, and ARP converts or translates IP address to MAC address. So they are just reciprocal or reverse of each other, is it? This is what it means, right? So I think among today 19, we 7 or 8 people are there who say that this is correct, and rest are staying silent. That's all. Fine. Can I move ahead? How actually the data transfer is visualized in our day-to-day internet daily lives. Can I move ahead?
Yes.
All of you can understand till here? Tell me that.
Clear, sir.
So see, your entire data transfer entire data transfer as well as data fetching from the internet is based upon, is visualized in two models. One is the OSI model. Another is, okay, let's first talk about the OSI model. Fine. OSI model is being proposed by ISO, I guess in the year 1984. Okay, it has 7 layers. Let me draw the layers, okay? Let me draw the layers. At the top, there is application layer. Application layer, fine. Next, there is presentation layer. Next, there lies session layer. Next, there lies transport layer. Next, there lies network layer. To network, next lies data link layer. And at the bottom, you can say that there is physical layer, something called physical. So in these 7 layers, your OSI model is built up. Okay, data is visualized to travel through all these layers. Okay, to reach from the host, from the server to the host, or from the host to the server. Okay, any doubt till here? Tell me that. Any doubt till here?
So how these layers work?
Yeah, we will discuss that. OSI stands for Open System Interconnection. What is an open system? Can anybody tell me? What do you mean by open system? What do you mean by open system? Open system means system or a PC. Let's system means PC, laptop, or any device. Okay. Open system means any system that is connected to a network. That is called open system. So can you tell me what do you mean by a closed system? Any guess you can make? What do you mean by a closed system? Open system is what? A system that is connected to a network. What can you say about closed system?
Sir, which is not connected.
Exactly, which is not connected to a network. Fine. Like when you, let's say our connection that we are considering, network that we are considering is the internet network over which we daily surf, right? Let's say you have turned off your data, neither you are connecting to any of the Wi-Fi. Fine. So at that moment, you can say, as in the point of view with the internet surfing, with the internet, from the internet point of view, your mobile or your laptop or anything is a closed system. That moment. Fine. The moment you turn on your data or your Wi-Fi connection, you connect to a Wi-Fi connection, your system becomes an open system. Okay. Closed system means that is not connected to a network. This is the meaning. Okay, now let's see one after the another how our these all layers work. How these layers work. So first we will start with the physical layer. Okay, let me explain something else. These 3 layers are related to software, or you can say these 3 layers are software layers. Okay, software layers. This is what responsible for actual data transfer, the transport layer. Okay, actual data transfer takes place here. Okay, and these 3 are the hardware layers. The first 3 are software layers, middle one the transport, You can say transport layer itself because it is responsible for carrying your data from one host to the another host. Correct? Network, data link, and physical, these are all hardware layers. Fine. How your data, when you suppose send the data from one host to the another host, how the hardware is being managed inside that are being determined by the network, data link, and physical layers. Okay. So in these layers, we have predefined protocols. For carrying out these things, we have predefined protocols. What set of rules will be there? Okay. What set of rules are there that will be managing the data transfer? That is already predefined in these layers. So yeah, let's move ahead. Firstly, there is the lowest point. Let's start from the lowest point, that is the physical layer. Physical, what do you mean by this? Any idea you can take out from the physical? Physical layer. What can you imagine from the term physical?
Available in reality.
So wired connection.
Yeah, to an extent, wired connection. Then physical layer means the connecting media. Okay, physical layer means the connecting media. Suppose that this is the host, this is host 1, this is host 2, this is host 2. Fine. So these, whatever media that is connecting them over the network falls under the category of physical layer. Now, can you tell me what is the responsibility of this physical layer? What do you think?
To emit the data from one to another.
To transmit the data, right? Whatever
Yes,
data this host 1 wants to send to host 2, this medium, this layer will be helping me to transfer that data in actual. Correct or wrong? Whatever data I want to send from host 1 to host 2, this physical layer is responsible for taking the data from host 1 to the host 2 part. Correct?
So it is a guided medium.
No, nothing. It can be guided, can be unguided. No point of that as of now. Fine. Because not in practically not every medium can be guided.
But sir, it is connected via wire, no?
Who said? I said this is a medium. There is no thing that this is a wire. I said this is a medium.
So it can be wired, no?
Yeah, it can be wired, it can be unwired. There are 3 kind of optical fibers may be there, telephone wires may be there, as well as radio waves can be, or your air medium can be used for transfer of data from one host to the another host. No point. Okay.
There can be any medium.
There can be any medium. Okay.
Okay.
This medium, this physical layer is responsible for. Okay, tell me, in what form do you think the data is transferred from host 1 to host 2? In what form do you think?
So in packets.
Correct. Practically, that is logically something called packets. But whenever the data will be traveling in mediums, what do you think? What should be the form? The packets will be taking the form of what? Ultimately, these are packets only, right? Will it be signals?
Yes, sir.
Will it be signals? If suppose this is a wired medium, if host 1 and host 2 are connected via some LAN cable or Ethernet cable, let's say Ethernet cable, then what happens? Data between host 1 and host 2 travels as either, let's say, in the form of signals, right? In the form of signals. So physical layer is responsible for transmitting these signals between the host 1 and host 2. Okay. This physical layer is responsible for transmitting the signals data signals in between host 1 and host 2. First point. Is it clear to all of you? Is it clear? Fine.
Yes, sir.
Another functionality of this layer is, let's suppose from host 1 to host 2. Let's suppose from host 1 to host 2, I have transferred the data. I have transferred the data. When host 2 will be receiving that, this layer is responsible for converting the signal into machine code. What do you mean by machine code?
So binary.
Yeah, machine code means whatever signals it has received, that signals will be transmitted, will be converted to something in the form of zeros and ones. That will be converted into data in the form of zeros and ones. Okay. Clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now, after this physical layer comes our data link layer. The second last medium, or the data link layer. Fine. Data link layer. Fine. Anything you have doubt from the previous one? Tell me first. Its functionalities, the meaning of physical layer, and how the data means, what are the functionalities it has? Tell me first that. And whatever we have discussed till now, reverse ARP, open and close system, everything.
So we didn't discuss application presentation session.
That's the last. We are starting from the bottommost layer.
Okay, sir.
Any doubt till now? Do you have?
No, sir.
Okay, now this data link layer. So inside physical layer, what had happened? From host 1 to host 2, data got transferred, right? Data got transferred. Now host 2, what data link layer has to do with it? Data has arrived from physical layer. Inside the physical layer of host 2, data has been received. Now this physical layer will be handing over whatever data is received to the data link layer. Inside the physical layer of host 2, what had happened? Data has been received in the form of signals, and the physical layer has converted that to machine code of zeros and ones, right? Now this entire data will be given to data link layer. Data link layer will further see that, okay, let's say this host 2 is connected to a router. That's the most obvious thing, right? Any host should be, in most of the cases, it should be connected to a network for receiving the data. And let's say it is connected to a router for accessing the network. See, now the data link layer will do what? Data link layer will see to which host, and let's say there are more hosts here. H3, H2, H4. Okay, and the data which has been received should go to H2. Data link layer will see to which host the received data should go. Okay, which host the data should go, and eventually it will transmit the data to the respective host that has actually requested for the data. Fine. So data link layer is actually responsible for handing over the grabbed data to the respective host. Okay, this is the first thing. Further thing is that, let's suppose whenever H1 was sending the data, host 1 was sending the data. Okay, this data link layer has done what? While sending, data link layer has broken the entire data. Okay, not here. I think that will be in some other case we will be talking. Now see how the data will be received by the H2 host. Okay, whatever data has been received in the form of physical layer has done what? Converted the data into machine code. Now further what will be happening? This machine code will be broken up into frames or packets, and these packets will be handed over to the host. Okay, whatever machine code, it's not the actual data. Further actual data, whatever data is there, for easiness will be broken up into packets, and these packets will be eventually received by the host too. Okay, and who breaks the entire machine code into packets? Data link layer is responsible for that. Fine. Using what protocol the host 2 will be decide? Using the ARP protocol that we have seen. Okay, so this ARP protocol decides in the data link layer. All of you can remember this. Okay, to whose machine the data that has been arrived into the network should go will be determined by the data link layer using the ARP protocol. Okay.
सर एक बार और repeat कर दीजिए सर.
See, data link layer, the data is received from the physical layer to the data link layer in the form of machine code, right? In the form of machine code. Now it has been received, the layer should hand over the received data to some host, to whichever host that has requested for the data. So data link layer determines how, to which host it should go using the ARP protocol. Okay, actually this data link layer using the ARP protocol breaks that. Okay, this packet belongs to which IP address? Okay, is being mentioned into the data. Which IP address this data should go will be mentioned into the data by any technique, let's say. Now using the ARP protocol, data link layer will be converting my receiver's IP address to its respective MAC address, and this MAC address further will be located to this MAC address will be located for the host to which the data should go. Fine. Now further data link layer can do what? It can break the received data, whatever data has been received, into packets. Into packets it will break and hand it over to our host 2. Clear till here? Tell me that. Another thing is that let's say host 1 is there and host 2 is there. Now what happens is that host 1 can transmit in, let's say, 100 Mbps speed. Host 2 but can receive data at not more than 25 Mbps. Okay. Now what happens is that host 1, if starts sending the data at 90 Mbps, let's say, this is the maximum limit. These are the maximum limits, let's assume. So let's say host 1 has started sending our data into, let's say has started at 90 Mbps to send the data to H2. Now what happens is that H2 can receive at max of 20 Mbps, not more than that. So H2, so there should be some limit, right? Most of the data, if it starts at 90 Mbps, what may happen is that many of the data may get lost. Many data. Okay, 90% of the data may get lost. So what happens is that this data link layer, using the data link layer, host 2 can notify host 1 that I have maximum receiving capacity of 25 Mbps. Please slow down, so that I may receive the data properly. So what will happen after data link layer, using the data link layer, host 1 and host 2 has communicated such. Host 1 will slow down and come to, let's say, 20 Mbps for sending the data, and thus the data receiving part will be smooth. Okay, this feature is called flow control. This feature is called flow control. Fine. Another thing is that suppose that host 1 and host 2 are connected. So let's say host 1 has sent some data to host 2, and this data packet, a data packet has some error in it. Fine. So our data link layer can identify that. And then what can happen is that it can inform to host 1. Host 1 will retransmit the packet to host 2. Fine. So using the data link layer, what else we can do? We can check the errors. Check the error, whether any error has been there inside our packets or not. Fine. Clear to all of you how data link layer works? How data link layer works, is it?
Clear, sir.
Moreover, at the sender's end also, this layer is responsible for breaking the data. The entire data that this sender wants to send, our data link layer is responsible for breaking the data into packets. Okay, and then it hands over to the physical layer to convert these packets to what? Into electrical signals. Fine. And further, when it will be reaching the physical layer, it will be reaching the physical layer of H2. These things will be reconverted to packets, at the data link layer of H2. Fine. This is the actually use of data link layer. That's a very important layer that breaks data, checks for error, and moreover can also slow down or pace up the flow of our sending data. Fine. Any doubts still here? Tell me that. Then only I will be moving ahead. And moreover, using the ARP protocol, what happens to what IP address the data has been sent? That IP address is translated to the respective to the respective MAC address using the ARP protocol. Fine. Clear to all of you? There are many functionalities of this data link layer. Any doubt? Tell me that.
No, sir, no doubt.
Only you and rest. Anyone is having doubt?
सर ये ARP कैसे वर्क कर रहा है इसमें?
अरे भाई ARP जो प्रोटोकॉल है ना, वो इसी लेयर में डिफाइंड है. इसी लेयर में ये ARP काम करेगा. बाकी किसी लेयर में ARP काम नहीं करेगा. इसी लेयर में ARP का काम है. ठीक है?
ओके.
ARP डिपेंड है. अगर डेटा जब डेटा लिंक लेयर पे आएगा तभी ARP का काम आएगा. ठीक है?
मतलब सब कन्वर्ट करना उसको कि
यस,
कुछ और
ट्रांसलेट करना. जैसे ही डेटा लिंक लेयर पे आ गया, ये पर्टिकुलर जो डेटा पैकेट है किस आईपी एड्रेस से आया है, किस आईपी एड्रेस को जाना है, वो मेंशन रहता है. ठीक है? तो आईपी एड्रेस, किस आईपी एड्रेस को लेट से जाना है तो उस वहां पे वो कन्वर्ट कर देगा. ठीक है? कन्वर्ट कर देगा क्योंकि चलो आईपी एड्रेस तो मेंशन है, किस मैक एड्रेस को वो जाएगा, कन्वर्ट यूजिंग द एआरपी प्रोटोकॉल, और उस ये पैकेट जो है पर्टिकुलरली उस होस्ट को ट्रांसफर कर दो. फाइन.
सर ओनली ट्रांसफर करने या फिर रिसीव करने का भी ये काम करता है?
रिसीव करने का भी काम करता है.
ओके.
Now let's go to the network layer. Our third layer is network layer. What can you think of from the network part? Network. What do you think? Let's suppose this is my host one. This is my host one. Fine. It wants to send data. It wants to send data to host two. Okay. Now in using the network layer, what happens is that your routing takes place. Okay. If suppose my data packets are so many, and I want to send my all packets of data to my host two, and that is at a distant place. Let's say we are at India and we want to send our data to, let's say, Europe. Okay. So in between, I have to check for a path. Check for a path through which I can send my data packets. So what happens is that inside network, for transferring my all data packets, what should be the route is being determined at the network layer. Okay, is determined at the network layer. What happens is that, moreover, inside network layer, each data packet, okay, that is to be sent. What happens is that the network layer assigns each of the data packets what is the host IP, the receiver's IP address, and the sender's IP. Okay, both are assigned to the data packet in the network layer. Fine. And then what happens? This is called logical addressing part. Logical addressing, from which of the host the data will be going, and to which host, okay, the data will be going. All the IP addresses are assigned to the data packets on the network layer. Fine. And this IP addressing is called, allotting the IP addresses is called logical addressing. Okay. Logical addressing. Now, inside this layer, whenever the data packets reach the router, data packets are handed over to the router. The router determines what is the shortest path using which I can reach host 2. Shortest path in the terms of time. Using what path I can reach my host 2 in the lesser time. That is being determined into the network layer. Fine. And can anybody tell me, if I am supposed to find shortest time path, which algorithm can be used? Path that we can travel in shortest time to reach host 2. Which algorithm can be utilized here? Which algorithm of graph theory can be utilized here? What do you think? What do you think? Dijkstra, can we use this? Dijkstra. DFS is a traversal algorithm. Dijkstra is the shortest path algorithm. Okay. So this Dijkstra algorithm is one such algorithm that our router utilizes to determine which is the shortest path through which a data packet from host 1 can reach host 2. Okay. So if somebody asks you what is the utilization of any of the algorithm, you can say that, okay, inside the network layer, or simply say our routers determine the shortest path for sending data packets from our present computers to any of the hosts using the Dijkstra's algorithm. Okay. There are many more such examples, but this is one of the best examples that you can come up with. Okay. Anything to ask here? What happens in the network layer? What happens in the network layer?
So repeat it again, Trolley.
Which one?
It's a network layer.
Network layer, what happens? Okay, data inside the data link layer, what happens? Data is being broken up into packets, right? Now these packets are given to the network layer. Okay, these packets are given to the network layer. And inside the network layer assigns these data packets two things: receiver's IP and sender's IP. Two things are assigned to the data packet. Further, what is the shortest path that such that using that path these data packets can reach from host 1 to host 2 is being determined by the router inside the network layer only. That's the role of our network layer. Okay. Any doubt inside this?
Clear, sir.
Any doubt? Any doubt till now? Tell me that.
सर
Yes.
नेटवर्क लेयर एक्सप्लेन कीजिए ना एक बार वापस रिकैप क्विक रिकैप.
So what happens? Whatever data is broken up into packets. Where? Data link layer. Now data link layer hands over those data packets to the network layer. Inside network layer, to each of the packet, receiver IP and sender's IP is being attached to each of the data packets. Fine. And each of the data packets, then how then, in what manner from host 1 to host 2 this data packet should reach? Okay. What is the shortest path is being determined by our routers inside the network layer only. And what algorithm can be used? Dijkstra's algorithm can be utilized to determine the shortest path. Is it clear now? Very simple, I think, for network layer.
Yes, sir, got it.
Okay. So we can say our routers reside into the network layer. Okay. Any doubt till now? Any doubt till now? So see, next layer is transport layer. Actually, this layer is this is the layer that is responsible for transferring, let's say, more precisely, this layer is responsible for giving service to network layer. Okay, what happens? Network layer hands over the data packets with IP addresses. Right? Data packets with assigned IP addresses is been given to the transport layer. Now transport layer will take care of it. What it will do? It too, the transport layer too, just 1 second. Transport layer to each of the packet adds the port number. Okay, this it already has what? The sender's and receiver's IP address. Sender's IP and receiver's IP. This packet already has. Now, to which port? From which port of the sender this data packet has arrived? And to which port? To which of the port? To which port of the receiver should this data packet go? Is being allotted into the transport layer. Okay, port is a software. Port are softwares inside our computers. I think we have seen this at the beginning classes, is it? Starting classes when we were discussing the web architecture. Port is a software. What happens is that in your data comes out of your computers from softwares that are called ports and are received into the ports. So let's say your file, you want to share or receive a file over the internet that has a designated port. Only into this port you can receive a file. Okay, you want to receive images or web pages. Okay, those things are also have a designated port into your computer, designated software, that okay, using this port only your server can send the data, and using a certain port only your computers can receive web pages into your computers. These are the functioning of ports, to send request and to receive data. Okay, some softwares are already there, logical things into your computers, those are called ports. No, browser is not a port. Browser is a software, but browser receives the data from some other softwares. Those are what we call ports. Okay, so from which port the data is going and from which port it is coming, those things has to be determined in order to have data exchange. Okay, so now the thing is, if suppose a server is sending a data, it has to know to which of the server, to which of the port numbers of the receiver the data should be going. Is that a possible thing? Can anybody tell me? This is the receiver, and let's say this is the sender. Sender has to know, sender while transferring has to determine, right, at receiver's end, at what is the available port of receiver for receiving the requested data. Is it? The sender has to know that before sending the data. Is it? Else it cannot send, right? The transport layer has to assign some port number, that which port number the receiver will receive the data into. Fine. So what happens is that there are predefined port numbers already. Let's suppose for web application purpose. For web application purpose, the designated port is 80, port number 80, through which your data exchange of your web application can take place. Fine. Some pre-designated port numbers are there, through which your data exchange with the internet takes place. And by default, it is 80 in our computers. Okay.
So by default, 80 means it's responsible for all web applications.
Yes. There are several other applications as well. Like, so let's say, our one such thing is Outlook. Another thing is Skype. Skype is responsible for having video calls, right? Video calls. And let's say Outlook. Outlook is responsible for what? Anybody can tell me?
Mail.
Yeah, it is responsible for mails. So for exchanging mails, it is possible. I'm not very sure that it will be different from the port number 80. For exchange of mails, there can be other port with which our Outlook can exchange data over the internet. Okay. There can be some other designated port numbers. There are different web applications present. These web applications can use different port numbers for receiving the data. Let's suppose our browser uses some other port, Outlook uses some other port, and Skype uses some other port. So what happens is that
Outlook sir 993, na?
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Let's suppose our browser is responsible for fetching and requesting data to the server using port number 80. Now Outlook is responsible for, as Kanu said, port number 993 for fetching and transferring data. So what happens is that which layer is it we are talking about? Which layer is it? The transport layer, is it? My naam to bata do. The transport layer, when it receives data at the receiver's end, when it receives data, okay, it looks for the port number, that what port number this data should go. Okay, and based upon the port number, which application should this data should be going into will be determined. Let's suppose inside the data that has been received, port number mentioned is 993. Then this data will be headed over to the Outlook application. Fine. If that port number mentioned into the data is 80, then this transport layer will be forwarding the data towards the browser or the web application browser. Okay. So this is how for end-to-end delivery. For the end-to-end delivery, from which application of and port number, let's say from which application or port number of our sender sent are we receiving at our receiving end to which port number. So this is being determined by the transport layer. Fine.
So everyone has their different unique port number.
Yeah, everyone. And this every web application also has a predefined port numbers most of the time. Okay. You don't need to bother about that. You just need to enjoy the services. All these things are predefined and you have to just remember them for your interviews.
इसके में सर ये 993 क्या है? पोर्ट नंबर?
पोर्ट नंबर है, हाँ पोर्ट नंबर है।
सर क्या करता है मतलब ये?
बोला तो रिसीव, कोई तुम्हारे इनबिल्ट सॉफ्टवेयर है कंप्यूटर्स में कुछ जो डिटरमाइन करते हैं एक्सचेंज ऑफ डेटा कैसे होगा। okay. ये जो पोर्ट नंबर है पर्टिकुलरली ये रिसाइड करता है तुम्हारे डेटा लिंक लेयर पे कौन से सॉफ्टवेयर से, ठीक है। ये क्या करता है तो हमारे जो एप्लीकेशंस है, द एप्लीकेशंस वी हैव, क्रोम इज देयर, फायरफॉक्स इज देयर, ओके, मोरओवर आउटलुक इज देयर, okay, they will send out the data, they will send out the data, right? Now they can send the data through their respective port numbers. They require some other software called port numbers to send data or to receive data into them, okay? So these softwares are responsible for that, the port numbers.
So we need to remember the port numbers.
No, you don't need to. What is the work of port numbers? Just know that. No need to remember the port numbers. 80 is for web application, general web application. Please remember all of you. Maybe it may be asked.
So it is kind of address, no? A particular address.
Maybe you can assume that.
सर फिर IMAP POP और SMAP समथिंग कुछ होता है, वो सर्वर्स क्या होता है?
क्या बोलना, फिर से बोलना।
पॉप सर्वर जो होता है उसको कॉन्फ़िगर करते हैं कोई मेल के लिए, फिर IMAP एक होता है और एक होता है SMTP।
SMTP प्रोटोकॉल होता है, SMTP प्रोटोकॉल होता है, सिंपल मेल ट्रांसफर प्रोटोकॉल। ये जो मेल भेजते हो ना, आते हैं उस पॉइंट पे भी, रुको थोड़ी देर में आएंगे। मेल हम लोग भेजते हैं ना, वन होस्ट टू अनदर होस्ट मेल भेजते हो ना, तो इंटरनेट पे कौन से रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस है जो मेल ट्रांसफर को रेगुलेट करते हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड SMTP, सिंपल मेल ट्रांसफर प्रोटोकॉल। That's a rule, set of rules using which you can send or receive mails, okay?
क्योंकि सर अगर कोई कंपनी का हम पर्सनल मेल आईडी करते हैं उसमें IMAP का कॉन्फ़िगर करना पड़ता है, या गूगल में ये सब POP3 में हो जाता है, और कोई सर्वर भी POP3 सर्वर को ये करते हैं।
तो ये रूल्स है, इसका कोई पोर्ट से लेना देना नहीं है। तुम जब मेल भेजोगे तो उसका ना, वो उसका एक पर्टिकुलरली मेल जाएगा तो यहीं से, इसी पोर्ट से ही तुम्हारा इंफॉर्मेशन जाएगा। अब कौन सा रूल है, व्हाट सेट ऑफ रूल्स आर गवर्निंग, फाइल भेजते हो उसके लिए अलग रूल है, फाइल ट्रांसफर प्रोटोकॉल,
ओके,
ठीक है। मेल भेजते हो उसके लिए अलग रूल है, SMTP, सिंपल मेल ट्रांसफर प्रोटोकॉल। These rules will determine where your files will be going, how it will be going over the internet, and to which host it will be going. Predefined rules are there.
ओके सर, समझ में आ गया।
Okay. Now see, most important thing here, into the transport layer. Okay, till now whatever we have discussed, have you any problem do you have inside them?
No, sir.
Is it clear to all of you till now whatever we have done?
क्लियर है सर।
See now how your actually data transfer takes place using the transport layer. using the transport layer. How it takes place. So see, transport layer does what? Is responsible. This is host 1, this is host 2. Transport layer does what? It establishes a connection between host 1 and host 2. Connection. Till now there was no connection, right? Transport layer is responsible for establishing the connection. Then it provides the data transfer. Transfer the data from H1 to H2. Okay, then it facilitates the data transfer, and then it terminates the connection. Fine. So what happens is that there are two kind of connections that we see. Two kind of connections, most standard connections that we have. One is the TCP/IP. And another is the UDP. So two connections, rather, I should say. One is connection oriented. Actual connection will be there, or end-to-end connection will be there. And another is connectionless. Connectionless. Fine. So what happens? Connection oriented services, let's say these are connection services, right? These are connection services, and connection oriented services utilizes mainly one protocol, that is TCP/IP. This is the kind of connection. TCP/IP is a kind of connection. UDP is a kind of connection. What transport layer can make to connect, to send data between H1 and H2. Fine. To send data between H1 and H2, there can be two kind of connection. One is TCP/IP, another is UDP. TCP/IP does what? Determines who are the host. Who are the host? Then it will establish a connection. End-to-end connection will be made. Now, after making the connection, data packets will be sent over the connection. Okay. Now UDP does what? There is no predefined. Beforehand, no connection is being made. No end-to-end connection will be made here. But direct data transfer will begin. Direct data transfer will begin. Okay. No end-to-end means no end-to-end connections will be made, unlike TCP. So this TCP, because it has to establish, it has to find the host, who are the host, and between these two hosts only I can transfer the data. Else the data transfer is not possible. What happens is that TCP is a little bit slower. Whereas UDP is faster, because it doesn't rely upon whether there is any actual connection between H1 and H2 or not. It will just keep on sending the data. What may happen is that H1 and H2, okay, H1 and H2 should have, for now, see, since there is an actual connection between H1 and H2, okay, if any data packet is lost in between, H2 can request it back from H1, that I haven't received this data packet, please send it back to me. But in UDP, this is not possible. Even if any data is lost, H2 cannot request it back to H1. Okay. So for all important data transfers, such as mails, our emails, okay, emails, and let's say some file transfer, just wait. Suppose that you are browsing an internet and you are converting your PDF to Word. Okay, such kind of browsers may utilize, before download begins, you might see that some delays there. Okay, some delays there. Such kind of connections you are making for making the download of your converted PDF to Word file may be termed as TCP connection, TCP/IP connection. Fine. And UDP connection is utilized where? Today we are doing the live streaming over Zoom, right? So this connection has to be faster. We should be effectively connecting to each other for having a good session. Such kind of video streaming is regulated by UDP protocol. Okay. Clear to all of you? Moreover, this is more reliable. It will not just break anytime. Unlike unlike C, means what may happen is that before sometimes my connection gets lost and I have to say sorry to all of you that I was disconnected. So why? So what happens is that moreover, sometimes what may happen is that at your end, I am not able to get your voice. Sorry. From your end, I am not able to get your voice sometimes. What happens is that whatever data you are trying to send, that is regulated by UDP, that is getting lost in between sometimes. So that's why your voice doesn't reaches me. And sometimes same happens to you from my end also. You say that I am not able to get your voice. Why? Because there is no actual connection between me and you. Okay, no actual connection has been made by the UDP server. Just it is me and you are keeping on sending our data to each other. So that's why this data loss things may be there in UDP. Okay, so this is not a reliable connection, but 100% data has to reach if there is a TCP/IP connection. Fine. Fine. Clear to all of you or not? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Another thing, okay, let's suppose data packets are being sent. This is data packet 1, 2, 3. One has to be received by the host 2 before 2 and 3. Okay, this is the order in which data has been sent. 1 comes first, then 2, then 3. So it should reach the host 2 in the order 1, 2, 3. Let's suppose while the sending process, this order has been distorted, 2, 3, 1 it is. Now what happens is that based upon some headers, this what is it? Which layer is it right now? This transport layer does what? At the receiver's end, transport layer, at the sender's end, transport layer give some header, add some extra data into our packets. Those are called headers. Now, based upon those headers, even if the order gets distorted, the transport layer checks it. The transport layer checks it at the receiver's end and reassembles them in the correct order of 1, 2, 3. This is another great feature of our transport layer. It ensures the correct order in which the data is being received. Okay, that's why whatever I am speaking from my end today, okay, this today I have spoken first. Then suppose I am speaking Ibrar. Then today should reach you, the word today should reach you people before the word Ibrar. Fine. So this is being taken care by the transport layer. That okay, today is a data packet and Ibrar is another data packet. 2 data packets today should go before to all of you than Ibrar. So this is being how the data will be transferred and will be received in this order is taken care by the transport layer. Clear to all of you? First tell me that. Clear to all of you or not? Any doubts still here?
No, sir.
And more precisely saying, transport layer determines what is the kind of connection. Okay, transport layer determines what is the kind of connection that you will be utilizing for sending the data. What is the kind of connection is being taken care by transport layer. Fine. Whether it will be TCP or IP, TCP, IP or UDP. Now see, the next layer that we will be stepping into is session layer. The session layer. This session layer is responsible. Let's suppose two hosts are there, H1 and H2. Okay. This session layer is responsible for establishing the connection, maintaining the connection, and terminating the connection. Okay. Kind of connection. What is the kind of connection? Who determines that? Kind is being whether TCP IP or UDP. Who ensures that? The transport layer. Transport layer ensures that. But creating the connection, maintaining it, and then breaking the connection is being determined by the session layer. Getting my point? Getting my point? Session layer actually, when you are suppose connecting to the internet, okay, and you want to exchange the data, this session layer is responsible for establishing a session between you and the internet. That now you are connected, and till the time you want to remain connected, let's suppose your data is on, you are on the session. Session layer will be continuously maintaining that. Whenever you switch off the data inside your mobile, your session gets disconnected, right? Now, again, you want to have surf your internet, you have to inform the session layer that, okay, please make a connection for me. Please make a session for me right now. I want to surf the internet. Okay. Any doubt till here?
No, sir.
Sure.
Yes.
Now the session layer is very important. Why? It compresses your data. This whatever data you have, let's suppose the total data that I have, 11100. Okay. This session layer will be responsible for compressing the data. Whatever actual data you have, okay, that undergoes compression before getting transferred. So what happens is that your data size decreases. Before transmitting, your data size decreases. Actual data is being compressed via some various algorithms that can be used. Okay. So your actual data decreases, and this regulates faster delivery and receiving of data. Okay. Fine. Is it fine to all of you? Okay, no, there was a mistake from my end also. This session layer is only responsible for maintaining creating, maintaining, and terminating the session. Okay. This particular functionality comes under the next layer. Okay, compression of data comes under the next layer, that is the application layer. Okay, that is the application layer. Is it? No, the presentation layer. Next layer is presentation layer. Okay, now see, can anybody tell me, suppose that from the Chrome, I want to send data that will be received, or let's say, let's not take this. From Windows, I want to send the data. From a Windows machine, I want to send the data, and that should be received by some using in a machine that uses Mac OS in some other network. Okay. Now the data that actually looks like here will be quite a bit different in the Mac, is it? Should be little bit
Yes.
different, should be looking different in the Mac. Same in the case of Ubuntu also, is it? If somebody is
Yes.
utilizing Ubuntu, do you get any difference in the showcase of data?
Yes, sir.
कुछ तो अलग दिखता ही है ना? So what happens
Yes.
is that
Yes, sir.
what happens is that whenever you want to send the data, okay, you want to send the data here, it is extracted from your machine. Okay, and this presentation layer manipulates the data. Whatever data it is sending, it is extracted. This presentation layer now manipulates the data. Manipulates as per, as required, or as per the network over which we want to send the data. Okay, this presentation layer is responsible for translating my data with the requirement to which it will be translated. Based upon the requirement the network has. The network can transmit certain kind of data only. So based upon that, the presentation layer will be extracting my data, manipulating it, and then sending it. Okay, let's suppose I want to send ASCII characters, some ASCII characters, but my network can support sending of data to this format, EBCDIC. Okay. Now this is the only kind of data that my current network supports to be transmitted. Now the ASCII will be converted first to EBCDIC format and then will be transferred over the network such that the other machine can receive it. Fine. Not only this, not only the translation, but this particular data will be compressed now. Translation ho gaya. First translation, it has done the translation for me. Now it will do the compression. It will reduce the size of original data by some bits. Okay. After reducing only, why reduction? Because if we compress the size, the data becomes smaller. Data becomes smaller. Data becomes smaller, and the data facilitation of rather transfer and receiving of data, okay, becomes faster. This is the thing. Fine. Moreover, compression has been done. So whenever inside the presentation layer, what happens? Your data, whatever data you have, is encrypted for security purposes. Encrypted so that no one over the network can see what actual data you are sending. Fine. It is encrypted, and at the receiver's end, the same data is decrypted in the presentation layer. Fine. So if compression happens at the sender's end, what will happen here? What will happen here? Decompression, right? Original data should be obtained from the compressed part. So decompression will be happening here. And then some manipulation, and based upon whatever operating system and all you are having. So let's come to that after some time. I guess that will be falling under our application layer. Okay. So this, after the decompression and decryption, our data will be handed over to application layer. This presentation layer was responsible for translating the data, encrypting the data, encryption and decryption of data, and compressing the data. Okay, to facilitate faster move and receiving of data. The last layer that we have is application layer, the topmost layer. Application, what do you mean by this? Application. Your usual Chrome browser, let's say, Skype. Okay. Now next, let's say Outlook comes into this application layer. Okay, now what happens? Whatever data your presentation layer has given, okay, presentation layer has handed whatever data to the application layer. So that will be rebuilt into the application layer. These entire data will be rebuilt, and then ultimately you will be able to see who is talking. Ultimately, after the rebuild part, you will be able to see the data on your screen, that whatever I have requested has arrived. Our application layer has rebuilt the entire data for us, and we are able to see it on our screens. Fine. First responsibility of your application layer is this. Okay. And this application layer is the first gateway, right? Is the first channel for you. Using this application layer only, you can interact with the network. Is it? This serves as a channel for you to interact with the network. Okay. Moreover, inside this application layer only, you will be having protocols. Using what protocol I should send my data? Okay. Let's suppose if I'm sending a mail, then what should be the protocol? SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Okay. If I am sending a file, if I want to exchange, or if I want to receive or send a file, there should be file transfer protocol. Fine. These all protocols are present into the application layer, and using what protocol, depending upon the data that I want to request or I want to send over my network, these protocols come into the act. Fine. So all our layers are complete here. Of the OSI model, all our layers are complete. Okay. So this was the old convention using which the data exchange used to happen. But this is very important. Old convention. Anyone can ask you. Fine. New convention is TCP/IP. The TCP/IP model. The TCP/IP model. Fine. Do you want to take a break? 2-3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right nowadays this model is utilized for exchange of data. अब ये मत सोचना कि यही आना था तो प्रीवियस वाला क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं. प्रीवियस वाला भी बहुत जरूरी है. Any doubt till here you people are having? Any doubt till here? You people are having? Any doubt? So let's begin, and so that we can finish early. Okay. What happens is that what was our OSI model? Firstly was what? Application layer, right? Application layer. Next, presentation layer. Next was session layer. Then transport layer. Next, network layer. Then data link, and then physical layer. See, in TCP IP model, what happens? The more or less the functionalities of both the layers, both the models are same, but this becomes quite a bit shorter. Okay, these three layers form a single layer in TCP IP, that is the application layer. Okay, transport remain as it is. Transport remain as it is. The network layer here becomes the internet layer. Okay, and the last two layers correspond to network access layer. This is how your all the 7 divisions has been made concise. Okay, this layer OSI model is supposed to be less reliable. Okay, but when TCP IP model has arrived, this was said to be more reliable. There were some strict boundaries defined here. Some strictness was there, that beyond this, strict boundaries were there. Beyond certain functionalities, OSI model cannot work. But it has not very strict boundaries. Okay, it is more liberal in a sense. Yeah, so more or less this is the difference between our TCP IP and OSI. The working is more or less same. Okay, it's that some layers have been clubbed together and all the layers has been, the number of layers has got reduced. That's a major advantage of our TCP IP model. Fine. Whatever work we do in application layer, presentation layer, session layer together is being carried out by application layer of TCP IP. Whatever work we perform of transport layer is being carried out by transport layer of transport, and transport are same for both TCP IP. Whatever work we do in network layer, that is being carried out by the internet layer of TCP IP model. Fine. And the last is network access layer. That does what? That should be doing what? Whatever the data link and physical layer we have, that work is carried out by our network access layer in TCP IP model. So that's all. The work will be more or less same. Some more concise has arrived in TCP IP model. It is concised in nature and more reliable. Not very strict boundaries are defined that, okay, certain kind of works cannot be carried out in TCP IP model. Fine. That's all. More, if you want to read, you can go through the Geeks for Geeks link. Okay, that what are the actual differences, or what more differences are there between them. So these two models are there right now. TCP/IP model is the most used model in our current day. Any doubts till now you are having? Tell me that. Any doubts you people are having? Please tell me.
नो डाउट सर,
Pakka?
मेरे लिए तो पक्का है सर.
All of you? All of you?
No, sir, till here, no doubt. So after creating MCQ, I have a doubt, I will ask them.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, do you people remember the term DNS? Do you people remember the term DNS? Have we discussed in while basic web architecture class at the starting? What do you know about it? DNS. What do you know about it?
So domain something.
What is it? Can anybody tell me what is the name? What is it? Domain name server. What it does? It is called to be the phone book of internet. Why?
Browser used to load the page, something we are going to
Phone book of
search.
internet. Why it is called so? What do you think? This is the server, right? This is a server. Okay, suppose this is the browser, right? This is the browser. You want to suppose fetch google.com. This is a request, right? Right now, whatever we have discussed, this is a request. So request will be in the form of packets with source IP and with sender's IP and receiver's IP. Two things will be there, right? So now IP address is there inside a packet. Then when I'm making a request for google.com, from where I will get the IP address of the receiver? From where with the IP address of the receiver, not receiver. Yeah, receiver, that is the server, right? This request I have made. So receiver will be right now the server, wherever the google.com page is loaded, the server. Sender is this machine only. Its IP address will be present. Since all of the machines into the internet has an IP address, so I require the IP address of the server. From where will I get this? Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea? So see, before your browser, whenever browser makes a request of particular website, let's say google.com, it goes to DNS, domain name server. Okay. Based upon your google.com, its server IP is present there inside the DNS. Its server IP is present. And now this IP, whatever data you have queried, that this IP, using this IP, that will be fetched from the respective server. What is this IP related to? The server's IP, where this page is located, whatever data I am requesting, where it is located. So google.com is present at the server with this IP address. So the domain name server will be returning the IP address of the server. Then the request will be going to the respective server for getting the data. So domain name server does what? Keeps a phone book of all the IP addresses available respective to the names of your website. Okay, whatever name your website is having, Okay, whatever name the website is having, inside this corresponding to this name, data is kept in which of the server. This mark, this particular mapping is being kept for inside domain name server. Okay, and whenever you make a request, your request first goes to the domain name server, and that's IP, whatever IP address of the server is, that is fetched from the DNS, and then IP address, using that IP address, we query to the server for getting the data, and eventually our data is being fetched from that server. Okay, is this clear to all of you? Clear to all of you? What is DNS? Is it clear to all of you? Tell me that. Any doubt till now? Any doubt till now? Please tell me. No doubt. Is it? All of you, shall I take that? Okay, then let's stop here. We have almost today finished our syllabus. Okay, and next your system design will be taken by some other instructor before your full stack starts. Okay, before your full stack starts, and let's do our rest of the MCQs and we will wrap up today. And tomorrow, from tomorrow, we will start discussing the project. Given the first MCQ, please attempt. given all the MCQs. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes, tell me.
సార్ విర్చువల్ ప్రాక్సీ నెట్వర్క్ గురించి చెప్పండి సార్ కొంచెం అది ఎలా వర్క్ అవుతుంది
Sorry, couldn't get you.
ఓకే కెన్ యూ టెల్ అబౌట్ VPN సార్
The VPN.
యా
So means
ఇట్ కమ్స్
VPN
అండర్
is
నెట్వర్క్ పార్ట్ ఓన్లీ
it's not actually it comes under network part, but actually it comes under something called data security. That VPN part. The VPN does what? Hides your IP address, actual address over the internet. Okay, so in which you are not only anonymous using the VPN, a virtual private network. Actually, that's the term utilizes or sums up to be, and not only your data is means your identity is hidden over the internet, but what happens, your data is encrypted there, so your data is also more secure using the VPN part. There are many available VPNs over the internet that you can, if you want to be secure or you want to learn ethical hacking, you can go on exploring the VPN part. But yeah, that ethical hacking, practicing those things are very difficult right now.
యా సార్ ఫర్ దిస్ ఓన్లీ
So I have made the attendance also.
Sir, for VPN, we are just accessing that VPN part through such apps, no, sir. Can't we
sorry?
create a private VPN?
No, you cannot. I think that's quite means how can you make a network? This is my question.
So that's what my question is, sir. How they are making a network? I mean,
Network
they are
making
creating
authorities
a-
are there, right? Like your Airtel is a net. Airtel provides a network. Such kind of authorities are there. Not an individual. You have to get a license from somewhere. That's the point. Network is what? If you interconnect, you can make a, not from the point of intranet, but you, from the point of internet, you can make intranet. Likewise, your what I should say, some configurations can be made. In colleges, you have seen various computers are connected to each other via some browser kind of things. Okay, so that
Yes.
every laptop is every desktop in that is connected to some other desktop, all other desktops as well. Okay, so such kind of moreover, many of the offices are connected to, all of the offices are connected to each other via some connections. So those are what hidden networks that are not directly accessible from your internet. Okay, that's all. So they utilizes some VPNs. Likewise, Infosys utilizes VPNs, okay, for connected to the remote desktops. So
Yes.
that's not actually possible. I don't know from individual terms, but that's not actually possible. More or less, that's not possible from mine and your personal laptop terms. You can buy VPNs though. Some organizations sell VPNs. Okay,
Yeah.
sell VPN. So you can buy, take some license from them, and you can keep on surfing utilizing that VPNs. Okay. That's all.
In that case, that VPN is not changing any IP address, but for that IP address, we can access through that VPN only.
No,
That's
your
only enough.
actually whatever your original IP address is, that will be hidden from the internet. Some actually it will take some example of let's say you are sitting in India, some machine has some other IP address in Europe. So whenever you are into the surfing into the internet, whoever is controlling, he will be able to see that, okay, your machine is making some request, but that particular thing is being diverted to some other location. Such kind of thing is being regulated by the VPNs.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, that's all.
हेलो सर
Tell me.
सर हमारे जो प्रोजेक्ट्स होंगे वो लीड कौन करेगा?
क्या? सॉरी
सर जो हमारे प्रोजेक्ट्स होंगे
हाँ,
वो लीड कौन करेगा? मतलब आप
Mainly-
करोगे या कोई और, मतलब स्ट्रक्चर वगैरह?
मैं ही रहूंगा प्रोजेक्ट्स में, ठीक है।
अच्छा, प्रोजेक्ट्स में आप ही रहोगे?
प्रोजेक्ट में मैं फर्दर तुम्हारे सिस्टम डिजाइन में कोई और आएंगे, ठीक है। सिस्टम
Okay.
डिजाइन एंड नेटवर्क फुल स्टैक में कोई और आएंगे,
ओके सर।
ठीक है। अब कुछ दिन और है हमारा, हार्डली 1 वीक।
सर प्रोजेक्ट किस टाइप का होगा सर?
हार्डली नहीं, मैं सिर्फ 2-3 क्लास तक ही रहूंगा। वो तुम्हारे कुछ टॉपिक्स होंगे, प्रोजेक्ट्स तुम कौन से टॉपिक्स के चूज करोगे वो मैटर करेगा।
ऐसा टॉपिक क्या है?
टॉपिक मैं अभी नहीं चेक किया हूँ, मुझे भी देखना पड़ेगा आपके टॉपिक्स क्या क्या है। वो मंडे या फिर दिस फ्राइडे या फिर मंडे डिस्कस करेंगे, ठीक है। और मैं ये भी देख लूंगा कि आप में से एक्चुअली में, सॉरी, मतलब कि ग्रुप होगा या इंडिविजुअल होगा। आई विल सी दैट एंड विल गेट बैक टू यू। ओके,
आई थिंक सर ग्रुप होगा।
मे बी ग्रुप ही होगा जितना मैं जानता हूँ। और जाजिब सर के क्लास से आप लोग कौन कौन आए हो इधर पे?
शायद से कानू ही है, कानू अमर वगैरह थे।
अमर तो पहले ही चला गया। अमर तो बीच
सर
में आता
हमारे
ही नहीं।
वो बैच में से है ना, प्रीति करके एक आई है,
हाँ,
सपना और स्वप्निल,
स्वप्निल बनकर, हाँ वो एक आया है।
और एक सपना साइनी करके है और एक प्रीति शर्मा है।
है।
हाँ ये लोग मेरे को सर ऐसा अभी डाउट है कि अम्बेडकर बैच में है ना, अभी फिर से डीएसए का एग्जाम हो रहा है।
क्यों?
फिर से अगर वो क्रैक नहीं कर पाते वो दोनों एग्जाम में, उसमें अगर फेल हो जाते हैं तो 2 मंथ्स बैक ये लोग भेज देंगे फिर से।
ये हाँ, तब तो बैच चेंज ही तुम्हें कंपलसरी हो जाता है ना, बैच चेंज।
तो ये सर फुल स्टैक अभी करवाएंगे ना फ्रंट-एंड का, उसके बाद भी फिर से डीएसए का एग्जाम क्यों करवा रहे हैं?
नहीं, फिर तुम्हारा पता नहीं मॉक इंटरव्यूज होगा या रिवीजन क्लासेस मे बी देयर, ऐसा हो सकता है। कुछ क्लासेस तुम्हारे रिक्वेस्ट पे कौन कौन से
क्योंकि
टॉपिक्स
सर मैं जितना जानता हूँ प्रीति है ना अच्छा कोडिंग कर देती, और सपना भी। फिर ये लोग यहाँ पे आए ना तो थोड़ा शौकीन लगा मेरे को।
प्रीति का मैंने भी स्किल्स देखा है, प्रीति को बहुत कुछ पहले से आता है, इतना मैंने देखा है।
हाँ सर, तभी तो बोल रहे हैं हम।
It's
अच्छा
really
कोडिंग
great.
करती थी वो।
बहुत, मतलब सबसे ज्यादा मैंने एडवांस देखा है किसी को यहाँ पे तो वो प्रीति है। शी नोज एवरीथिंग इन एडवांस। तो एज फार एज आई नो वो कंप्यूटर साइंस बैकग्राउंड से है, इसीलिए ये बात है।
हाँ सर।
अकेले शायद वो ऐसी बैच में है हमारे जो कंप्यूटर साइंस बैकग्राउंड से है।
सर जाजिब सर के क्लास में ना मोस्ट ऑफ कंप्यूटर साइंस के थे।
अच्छा,
मोस्ट ऑफ
मेरे बैच में तो कोई मिला ही नहीं मेरे को। मेरे बैच में अकेला कोई
नॉन
था।
कोडिंग के ही है।
अब मेरे बैच में मैं अकेला हूँ ऐसा इंस्ट्रक्टर जिसको कोई कंप्यूटर साइंस बैकग्राउंड से मिला नहीं।
हाँ सर है ना, आप हम लोग अनपढ़ गवार लोग को आप पढ़ा रहे तो हम भी वैसे बन गए।
तुम लोग भी बोलते होगे बीच बीच में क्या पढ़ा रहे हैं, कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है।
सर गवार लोग है तो पूछेंगे ही ना।
ऐसा नहीं है यार, फिर भी भाई तुम लोग ने जितना फास्ट, शाजिया हो, इब्रार हो, कानू हो, सौरभ हो, अंजलि हो, तुम लोग ने जितना फास्ट टेकअप किया है, ये रियली में एक मतलब अप्लॉज देने की बात है, सीरियसली फ्रॉम माय एंड। मैं अभी कभी नहीं कर पाया आज तक इतना फास्ट कभी कुछ। 3 महीना तो चलो, मुझे तो लाइब्रेरी यूटिलाइज करने में लग गया था C++ का। ठीक है।
और सर इस
हेलो।
और सर इस बार का जो वो सिलेबस होगा वो कहाँ से कहाँ तक का आएगा?
लास्ट तुम्हारा कोर्स CSE शायद फुल सिलेबस ही आएगा वंस अगेन। तुम्हारा जो कोर्स CSE इस बार पता नहीं एग्जाम होगा, क्योंकि तुम्हारा तो कुछ दिन में प्रोजेक्ट हो जा रहा है ना, फिर तो फुल स्टैक स्टार्ट हो रहा है। एक बार देखना।
ओके
डोंट हैव एनी आइडिया फ्रॉम माय एंड, लेट्स सी।
ओके ओके थैंक यू सर।
कल क्या टॉपिक्स होंगे?
कल प्रोजेक्ट डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन होगा, मैं एक सिंपल प्रोजेक्ट आपको कोड करके दिखाऊंगा। ठीक है, कल से मैं शुरू करूंगा और आपको उनमें से टॉपिक्स में से देयर विल बी फ्यू टॉपिक्स और आपको लेना है वो प्रोबेबली ऑन मंडे, और या फिर on this Friday we will be discussing which projects are there and क्या क्या उसमें आप लोग whether ग्रुप या इंडिविजुअल आप क्या क्या सिलेक्ट कर सकते हो। ठीक है,
सर टाइम पीरियड कितना होगा उसमें?
1 हफ्ता, 1 वीक।
क्रिएट करने का?
क्रिएट प्रोजेक्ट बनाने का। 2-3 दिन डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन में जाएंगे कि प्रोजेक्ट करते कैसे हैं। ठीक है,
अभी तो कुछ नहीं आता।
वो पाइथन आता है ना, यही
हाँ।
बात है। मैं भी थोड़ा देखूंगा कि क्या क्या।
प्रोजेक्ट का स्ट्रक्चर कैसे करेंगे वही पता नहीं चलेगा।
वो थोड़ा डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन में पता लगेगा स्ट्रक्चरिंग
ओके
कैसे होती है।
सर सब खुद से करना पड़ेगा या फिर हम बीच में हेल्प भी मिल सकती है?
ये तो खुद से करना पड़ेगा। प्रोजेक्ट इज अपॉन यू फुल्ली, जैसे असाइनमेंट तुम पे होता है वैसे प्रोजेक्ट से फुल तो मेरे को भी नहीं मालूम, मुझे बात करना पड़ेगा इंटरनेटली कि मतलब आप पूरा स्ट्रक्चर होगा तो होगा क्या क्या होने वाला है प्रोजेक्ट्स में।
क्योंकि फ्रेमिंग वगैरह तो हमें बिल्कुल नहीं आती है, बस कोडिंग आती है, तो उसमें कोड करके बनाना पड़ेगा।
या स्ट्रक्चर में परहैप्स तुम्हारा फ्यूचर में कोई चेंजेस आए, ये जो प्रोजेक्ट्स वगैरह तुम करोगे ये परहैप्स तुम्हारा एकदम फुल स्टैक के बाद शिफ्ट हो जाए, ऐसा पॉसिबिलिटीज है। बस अभी थोड़ा वेग काइंड ऑफ है, जस्ट ऐसे करने के बाद ही। ठीक है, ये जस्ट तुम्हें इंट्रोड्यूस कराने के लिए है कि क्लीन कोडिंग स्ट्रक्चर्ड कैसे करते हैं प्रोजेक्ट को, कोड का डिवीजन कैसे करते हैं। ठीक है, ये बात है।
करिकुलम भी सर वैसे भी चेंज हो गया है, थोड़ा बहुत
DSA के
अपडेट
टर्म्स
है
में तो
उसमें।
वही है, DSA के टर्म्स में वही है।
ओके सर, देखते हैं क्या होता है।
आई थिंक सर कोई ना कोई हेल्प कर सकता है हम लोग की।
कौन हेल्प, ये तो मैं भी नहीं जानता, मुझे जरा बात करना पड़ेगा। सही है
यस
यार,
सर,
मतलब कि
क्योंकि
मेरा ही
बीच में
बैच ऐसा,
confuse
मेरा ही बैच ऐसा था जिसमें कोई CS का आदमी नहीं है, यही ना।
यस सर।
ये तो बहुत गलत हुआ यार, सीरियसली।
एक भी पर्सन नहीं था क्या सर?
नहीं, एक भी नहीं था। तुम लोग जितना समझते थे, बाकी बहुतों को प्रॉब्लम होता था, मैं जानता हूँ।
ओके
यस सर।
मे बी जुनैद या शब्बीर शायद से CS से ही है।
नहीं, जुनैद और नहीं है, एज फार एज आई एम कंसर्न दे आर डिप्लोमा, उन्होंने बस डिप्लोमा पास किया है अभी। ठीक है, वो भी अभी सीख ही रहे हैं।
ओके
तुम कौन से बैकग्राउंड से हो?
मैं सर नॉन कोडिंग,
फिर भी कौन से बैकग्राउंड से?
फिर BA
BA?
आर्ट्स। यस सर।
इतना बढ़िया कोडिंग कर लेते हो यार, बहुत बड़ी बात है। चलो सही।
ओके सर, गुड नाइट।
ओके, गुड नाइट ऑल ऑफ यू।
गुड नाइट सर।
बाय। या बाय।
गुड नाइट सर, कल मिलते हैं।
हाँ बिल्कुल।